Hi and welcome to this week's episode of Straight Talking Sport. I'm Ryan Hodge, and as always I'm joined by Grant Elliott.
Hello.
Kieran Pick.
Hi.
And John Winchester.
Hi there.
This week we'll be talking about a variety of Formula 1 subjects and the breaking news that Lance Armstrong's lifetime ban from cycling might be reduced. So to start things off, on Monday, breaking news was that Felipe Massa, after having his contract run out and expired at Ferrari, is set to replace Pastor Maldonado at Williams. Early thoughts, guys?
I think that Williams is a good move for him. Obviously, Kimi Räikkönen took his seat at Ferrari earlier this year, and he was looking for a drive. He's the only Brazilian driver on the grid, and there's been a Brazilian representative on the grid since 1970. So to lose him would have been a big loss for the sport. There's a big Brazilian following. But Williams, they're a good choice for him. I think he'll definitely be the number one driver because he'll be partnering Valtteri Bottas, who's only had one season with the team. I'm not sure what happened to Pastor Maldonado. He's got a lot of sponsorship with him. But whether he can get a seat, I think there's going to be a big scalp this year. But it will remains to be seen who that is. So,
I think there's a lot more. I think there'll be a lot more pressure on Massa to perform next year. He's been a little bit disappointing this year. He's not really competed with Alonso that much. I think he hasn't got the excuse of being the second choice driver. I think it's a bit of a gamble from Williams personally, but it's up to him to prove me wrong, really.
Well, Williams are trying to obviously improve their rank in the overall table, in the overall standing. So getting Massa it'd be a big help to them, I think. I mean, they look like a team who's trying to re-establish themselves and get more podium finishes in every race.
Do you think that they can just rely on the quality of the driver to get more podium finishes, or do they have to improve mechanically and in engineering terms?
I don't think you can rely just on the drivers. You have to improve mechanically and on engineer terms as well.
I think in terms of this year, next year, Williams have made a massive step already. Felipe Massa, I mean, I know he's number 2 driver at Ferrari, but everyone writes him off nowadays. But I mean, back in 2010, when everyone knows Fernando is faster than you, he was leading that race since the start. And he's had a number of other races where he's out-raced or out-qualified Alonso, especially this year, because Alonso had a big driving force last year. But they've also recruited Pat Simmons for next year. That would be a big boost to them because he's got a lot of experience, and I think they're on for their worst ever season in Formula 1 this year. But next year, I think they're going to bounce back quite strongly.
I'm not sure whether the injury to Massa has affected his driving at all, but he's not seemed to be challenging as frequently since that head injury where he was very close to dying, wasn't he? So that's why I think it's a gamble anyway, because it's over the last few years he's, in my opinion, declined. Whether that is because they've put more faith in Alonso rather than Massa and they've not shared the responsibilities out, I don't know.
Having said that, though, Massa will be the number 1 driver at Williams, so it could be a coup. He could be an underdog, a dark horse maybe next year.
I think psychological advantage is a massive part of Formula 1. If you look at Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel, they were quite equal during 2010 before Vettel won his first title, but since then he sort of started to dominate, and this year Webber hasn't really been in the running. It's been the same with Alonso and Massa. That they put all their eggs into Alonso's basket, and Massa, even if he does outrace Alonso, he's had to move over on occasions. He's had to give up positions. And if you're told, well, if you know that you're going to have to do that during a race, you're not going to race 100%. Even if you think you are, subconsciously, if you qualify on pole, you know that you're not going to finish at first if it's a 1-2. So I don't know. I think now that he's at Williams, he won't have that, and maybe he'll perform better.
I think it's good for Bottas though. I think it'll be really good to have someone with the experience of Massa above him. I think it could do his career a world of good, actually.
But do you think, John mentioned the psychological advantages and disadvantages F1 brings, do you think that having a set number one driver could do his mentality damage?
I don't think it will. I think he will only be in his second year of F1 next year. He's still relatively young. Having someone experienced, 11-time race winner in Felipe Massa, at one point off being a world champion, let's not forget, in 2008. I think having him and a stronger lineup in terms of engineers next year, I think that would be a big boost to him.
In other F1 news, Sergio Perez will not be racing for McLaren next season. His seat will be taken by a new driver. Do you think the Mexican will be able to find a ride at another team?
I think it was a relationship that didn't really want to work in the end, Perez and McLaren. We all knew his potential because he got 3 podiums with Sauber in a car that wasn't the fastest going into the season last year. But this year they really haven't been on the pace, McLaren. It'll be the first time since 1980 that they won't get a podium in an F1 season. Their highest is 5th, 1 for Button, Perez's teammate, and 1 for Perez. But his driving has been a bit more reckless, I've noticed this year, especially in China and Monaco. And it's just led to believe that Kevin Magnussen, the Dane, is a better fit for the team, because in simulators he's been seen to get more out of the car. He's son of former F1 driver Jan Magnussen, who drove in 1995, I believe. But overall, I think it'll be a good move for Magnussen. But for Perez, I'm not sure whether he's going to get a drive.
But the last driver McLaren promoted was Hamilton, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and that worked out pretty well for him. So I can understand why they've done it. Obviously, it's just not worked out with Perez, has it?
With a number of teams still to finalise drivers for next year, do you think maybe he could get a seat up at perhaps Force India, or maybe even join Romain Grosjean at Lotus?
I'm pretty sure Perez will get a seat somewhere at a team. I'm not sure who it would be. It could be Lotus or Force India, but obviously we cannot foresee what's going to happen. But I think it'd be a bit of a blow if he wasn't in it next year.
Sticking with Lotus now, it has been announced that Michael Schumacher will not be replacing Kimi Räikkönen for the final 2 events of the 2013 season, the American and the Brazilian Grand Prix. Do you think that a return for Heikki Kovalainen is possible?
I think that's the most probable outcome. I remember last year when Grosjean had his ban, they brought in Jerome D'Ambrosio. He didn't have that great a race, but for one race, you're going to have to bring in someone. Heikki Kovalainen, he has a lot of experience. He drove with Renault before. Yeah, I think so. And he's been with McLaren. He is a race winner. So for 2 races, you can't really go wrong. If that may get him a drive next year. I mean, I know he's looking for a seat, but they can't go much worse than Kovalainen. He's a proven driver, and hopefully that could boost his chances to get a seat next year.
There will be a replacement for Räikkönen because of a supposed back injury. Do you think this is a legitimate injury, or he's just playing quote unquote hard to get because of the financial difficulties that he and Lotus have conflicted about in the past year?
It's a tricky one to answer. I mean, obviously last season he only got paid at the end of the year, rather as opposed to after every race. So I don't know if it is a real injury. You know, obviously we wouldn't like it if he is faking an injury, and I'm sure he isn't, but it could be to do with the money side, really. I mean, I think he wants to get paid after every race. I don't think he likes the fact that you have to wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, it's a bit of a coincidence that since he came out in the press and admitted he hasn't been paid, there's kind of been a relationship breakdown between him and the people above him.
Can you understand why Räikkönen's doing it though? I mean, it is his job to be a Formula One race driver. If he's not getting paid to do his job, should he take some action and should he strike, if you want to call it that?
Well, it's not that he's not going to get paid. It's just he's not getting paid when he wants to be paid. I think that's the
But
difference.
he should be getting paid at the end of each race, but it's
I know,
not the
but
case.
yeah. So, in fairness to him, that way you could say that he is. It is like going on strike in a way, and
I can't see it being a fake injury as such. If it was fake, the only people I feel sorry for is the fans that are gonna go to the American Grand Prix and the Brazilian Grand Prix hoping to see the best drivers in the world. And if he is faking it, then I'm sorry, but that's inexcusable to me. But having said that, I don't think it is a fake injury. I think he would be out. He's having back surgery, so he actually is like.
Do you think it's just he's got an injury, but he could carry on for the last 2 races? Do you reckon he's just exaggerating it though?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's brought the operation forward to make sure that his season's over now, and he in a way it'll mean he's got no excuses to be fully prepared for next year. And he can come in next year fresh, ready to hopefully challenge for the title, surely.
I can see the argument, because after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, he retired on the first corner, and he had left the track before the race had even finished. So I can see that his mind is in other places, but I can't see him not racing just because he hasn't been paid, because he's a multi-million, he's got
He's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, that's the word. And also he's a world champion, and he gets paid for appearances. Whether he gets paid there and then or whether he gets paid at the end of the year, he's going to get paid. So I would say that it is a real injury. It's not fake. So yeah.
So he's just exaggerating it, yeah?
Well, whether he's exaggerating it or not, he's having back surgery. So no matter when the surgery happens.
Okay. Moving away from Formula One now, almost breaking news. Lance Armstrong, his lifetime ban from cycling is a possibility that it will be reduced due to an appeal. Early impressions, early thoughts on that, guys?
I think that's one of the most outrageous decisions I've ever seen, really. I mean, this is a guy who's denied for so many years that he didn't take drugs in order to win races, and then he did. He came out last year and admitted it. That he took performance-enhancing drugs, and now they're looking to, well, not let him off the hook, but reduce the ban. It's just they're not following up on what they immediately said to begin with.
I don't know the whole story, so I could be missing some details, but I don't see why he's trying to appeal. I don't see what he's appealing.
Well,
he's been found guilty. He's had to pay back all this money to newspapers. He's had to give away all his Tour de France jerseys, winner medals.
By the time that supposed 8-year ban would come to an end, he'll be 49, 50, maybe even a bit older. Do you think, even if his ban was successful, it's even worth appealing, because he'd be almost too old an age to seriously compete in cycling events?
I don't know whether he'll want to compete or not, but I think the ban is irrelevant, to be honest, whether it's 8 years, 30 years, or a lifetime. I think if he's, because the chances are he's not going to compete for too long. If he does compete, the chances are he'll retire before then. So I think it's more of a question of pride more than anything. But like Kieran said, it's indefensible, I think. So, but if he does the time, he should be allowed to. If obviously he can't be on high or drugs or anything.
If you do the crime, you got to pay the time.
Yeah, and that, if it is reduced to 8 years and he does that 8 years, then I don't see what the problem is with going back to cycling, if he wants to, of course.
I mean, in snooker in the past few weeks and months, Stephen Lee has had a 12-year ban slapped on him for supposed match fixing. He's appealed the ban because he's denied the claims, but even if the ban is upheld, he'll be 50 by the time the ban expires, and he's not come out and said whether he plans to retire should the ban stick. But do you think it'd be possible in any sport for a 50-year-old to be able to compete at such a competitive high level? Well,
snooker's a bit different than cycling, because Lance Armstrong has to be completely physically fit in order to compete at a high level. Just going back to Armstrong a minute, I mean, if John said that if he serves his time, then he should be allowed to cycle. But this is a man who's cheated millions of fans around the world. He's cheated them out of competitive races because he has fixed them. Whichever way you want to look at it, he's fixed the race, and he has been so dishonest. And the cheek that he used to take his kids up onto the stage, just the audacity that he had to deny it for years and years, and then to just, it's always been sort of known, I think, on the cycling circuit that there was someone high profile cyclist who had used performance enhancing drugs, and that's been obviously announced. It's Lance Armstrong in the last year or so. It's just despicable. I mean, even if I don't think he should be allowed after 8 years, I think it should have been a lifetime ban.
So what do you think about Stephen Lee then? If he gets 12 years, but Lance Armstrong gets a lifetime for basically what's the same thing, but on a grander scale, I admit. But
I don't know how you can just watching Stephen Lee again. How would you be able to trust what he's doing? Watching him is.
I don't think you could trust any star who gets banned for whatever reason. You always look at them in a different way. It doesn't matter what it is that they've done, but you will look at them in a different way, and they won't be the same. I mean, if Lance Armstrong does go back, obviously he was an amazing cyclist, but we know why he was an amazing cyclist now. Is he going to be, half as good as what he was when he was on drugs? You don't know. I mean, it's disgusting, really.
Well, if he serves his time and comes back, then surely he's allowed to. Why can, if Stephen Lee is guilty, which I'm not saying he is, but if he was and he serves his 12 years, and he comes back, then why can't he come back? Why can Stephen Lee have 12 years and Lance Armstrong have a lifetime?
Well, it's different.
Well, it's different sports and different governing bodies.
I
And
know,
different,
but it's for doing the same thing.
Yeah, but Armstrong got Stephen Lee's ban was 12 years originally, wasn't it? I think it's the governing bodies who are at fault here. If you put a ban on them for life, or whatever, however long you ban them for, I don't know why they have to change it. They should just stick with what the original ban is.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Straight Talking Sport. As always, you can send us an email, straighttalkingsport@gmail.com. You can follow each of us on Twitter. My handle is @RyanJHodge. Grant, yours is?
At GDE93.
Kieran?
At the Kieran Pick.
John?
At JohnWin51.
You can like our video, subscribe to our channel, share it any way you wish. We've been talking and you've been listening. Thank you.